Somewhere between 40,000 and 15,000 years ago, a wolf walked toward a human campfire instead of away from it. That single decision, repeated, generation after generation, by countless wolves, will never know the names of created every dog that has ever slept at the foot of your bed. But here's the part that should bother you. Scientists still don't agree on why it happened. Did we choose them, or did they choose us? And after decades of digging up bones and sequencing ancient DNA, the honest answer is, we're still not sure. Let's start with what we do know for certain. Dogs were not a byproduct of farming. They came first. Long before anyone planted a seed or fenced in a sheep, humans and wolves were already living in each other's orbit. That timing matters because it rules out the tidy story you might have heard, that once we had surplus grain, we started taming animals for convenience. Dogs showed up while we were still hunter-gatherers, wandering, following herds, sleeping in the open. Whatever happened between us and wolves, it happened under much harder conditions than the story usually gives credit for. So where did it start? For a long time, the leading guess was Europe, but that guess just got overturned. A major genetic study analyzing ancient wolf DNA, pulling from specimens across Europe, Siberia, and North America, spanning 100,000 years, found something unexpected. Both early and modern dogs are genetically closer to ancient wolves from Asia than from Europe. The trail doesn't lead where researchers thought it would. And it gets stranger. The data suggests dogs don't come from a single population of wolves at all. They carry DNA from two separate wolf lineages, mixed together somewhere in deep prehistory. Dogs, in other words, may not have one origin story, they might have two, tangled into one. Then there's the fossil record, which tells its own strange version of events. Researchers recently analyzed over 600 canid skulls spanning 50,000 years, tracking exactly when a wolf skull stops looking like a wolf skull and starts looking like a dog's. The answer, around 11,000 years ago, at a site in Russia called Veritai, is where the earliest clearly dog-shaped skulls show up. And this is the detail that should stop you. None of the older specimens, the ones going back tens of thousands of years earlier, show any signs of domestication at all. Whatever transformation turned wolf into dog, it left almost no trace until it was basically finished. We don't get to watch the transition happen. We only get the before and then, abruptly, the after. This is where the real argument begins. There are two competing theories for how this transformation happened, and they paint completely different pictures of who was really in control. The first theory is the one most people already believe. Humans tamed wolves on purpose. Early humans supposedly found wolf pups, raised them by hand, and selectively bred the calmest, most useful ones, generation after generation, until wolf became dog. It's a flattering story. It puts us in the driver's seat. We saw potential in a dangerous predator, and we shaped it into a companion. But a growing number of researchers think that story gives humans way too much credit. The competing theory is called self-domestication, and it suggests we didn't tame wolves at all. Wolves tamed themselves. The idea goes like this. As human camps grew, they produced waste, bones, scraps, leftover meat. Some wolves, the bolder and calmer ones, started scavenging near those camps instead of staying away. The wolves that could tolerate being close to humans without panicking got more food. They survived better, they had more pups. And because calmer wolves tended to breed with other calmer wolves, that trait got locked in and passed down, purely through natural selection. No human ever picking a favorite, no human ever raising a pup by hand. For years, this theory had one big problem: math. Critics argued there simply wasn't enough time, that turning a wild wolf population into something resembling a dog through natural selection alone would take far longer than the archaeological timeline allows. But new modeling research, published in 2025, directly challenged that objection. Researchers built a simulation of wolf populations living near early human settlements and ran the self-domestication process forward under realistic conditions. The result, it works. Wolves selecting mates based on temperament, combined with the survival advantage of staying calm near humans, could plausibly produce dog-like traits well within the actual archaeological window. The clock problem, the thing that was supposed to rule this theory out, turned out not to be a problem after all. So which theory is right? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Probably some mix of both, and researchers studying this today increasingly admit that the debate isn't really which one happened, it's which one mattered more and where. In some places, deliberate human involvement may have accelerated a process that started on its own. In others, wolves might have essentially finished the job themselves, long before any human thought to intervene. The wolf that first tolerated your ancestors wasn't necessarily choosing you. It might have simply been the version of itself that survival had already selected for. And that reframes the entire relationship, doesn't it? We tell ourselves that dogs are proof of our compassion, that we reached out to a wild animal and built trust from nothing. But the science increasingly suggests something messier and, honestly, more interesting. Dogs may have met us halfway, or further than halfway, before we ever extended a hand. The bond we're so proud of might be less a gift we gave them, and more something we backed into, a partnership that built itself out of scraps, proximity, and thousands of years of wolves, quietly deciding that we weren't so bad to be around. We still don't know exactly where it started. We still don't know exactly who initiated it. What we do know is that somewhere in that uncertainty, in that tangle of Asian wolf lineages and unexplained skull changes and self-selecting temperaments, the most successful interspecies relationship in human history was quietly built, not in a single dramatic moment, but across thousands of years, one wolf at a time, most of whom never intended to become anyone's best friend at all.